What's up, Nova family? Today we are here with Evan, and he is going to tell us all about the seminars he will be leading at the Nova Open this year. So, Evan, how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. How about yourselves?
Pretty awesome. We're excited to get to talk to you. Why don't you tell us a bit about yourself and what you do out in the community?
All right. I'm mainly 40K focused. Got in back into the game back in 2012. I grew up playing it, and really primarily kind of gaming focused. Back in 2013, I started a blog, kind of just on that topic, and you know, brought in some friends, did some hobby elements, some gaming elements. Attended my very first tournament, which was Nova back in 2013.
That's awesome.
Um, and then in 2015, right before my first daughter was born, I lost my job. And so I was a stay-at-home dad, and I started up a little bit of a commission studio while I was otherwise unemployed. Did that for about a year or so before going back into an office job. But I go to Nova every year except last year. I was unable to attend because the birth of my second daughter. She was due on the first day of Nova.
Oh, wow. We'll let you get by with that one. That's a valid excuse.
Yeah, yeah. But I did paint up 10 of the Marines for the Nova Open Charitable Foundation's Nova Marines Army.
That's awesome.
So I was still involved as much as I could be last year.
Very cool. So, you've been involved with the Nova Open for quite a while then.
Yeah, yeah. Several years now.
Excellent. And you mentioned you had been involved in the Nova Open Charitable Foundation raffle as well, which is cool. It's always fun to hear from people who create those amazing works of art that we can all, pay to get those raffle tickets and support those amazing charities and get a chance at those beautiful works.
Yeah,
What was it like for you
yeah.
to work on that project?
It was a real honor to be asked. It's something that had been on my radar pretty much the entire time. I enjoy painting. I think of myself as at least a fairly decent painter, um, and so it was a real honor to be asked to join the team and help out. I I wish I had more time to do more. I'm still in talks with Joe Johnson, the guy who led the team I was on last year. Whether or not I'll have time to contribute, I hope I will, but little up in the air right now.
Sure. So this year you'll be leading some sessions or some seminars. That's correct.
Yeah, I'll be teaching one session on Thursday.
Okay. So tell us about that, what you'll be teaching and why someone should attend.
All right, so my idea for the course, I'm teaching basically airbrushing 101 or 001, Introduction to the Airbrush.
That's what I need.
That's what I need.
Yeah. So it's something I'm kind of passionate about. While I was running my commission studio, I was also streaming my painting sessions on Twitch. And so I'd be interacting with people, and, I constantly got these comments of like, I could never paint that well. I could never do that well. And it's something that I don't like that idea, because I feel like it's just not true.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have the right tools and you know how to use the tools appropriately, you can paint to a pretty high level fairly easily and quickly. And it's something I feel like anyone can do if they just, learn those techniques. And I consider airbrushing one of them: airbrushing, dry brushing, washing. And like, one of my streams actually got like to such a point where I was like, all right, you keep saying this. And the guy was saying he has this Nurgle army. He's never going to, I was like, those are perfect for this. So I had a Nurgle, like a Herald model. And so I on stream, like primed it, painted it, did the whole thing in about 45 minutes. And I was like, look, like I did nothing advanced here. I didn't require a whole lot of control for anything I did here. It's just knowing how to use an airbrush, knowing how to dry brush, and knowing some washes and color theory. Really easy to get going. So, my focus with the airbrush seminar is, one, I've had multiple friends and myself included when I first got an airbrush. It's intimidating. And I think needlessly so, we like build it up in our minds as being something overly complicated and difficult to use. And it can be frustrating because there's a lot of things that you can do that make it not work, but it's really easy to fix those things. You just have to know, all right, what are my troubleshooting steps? Do I do this, then try this? Okay, now it's working. And so just kind of giving a little guiding force and showing, all right, this is going to do these things. And my other kind of hang up was when I first got one, I was like, I don't want to break it. I don't want to ruin the airbrush. And learning that they're fairly simple machines that are pretty easy to clean and maintain. You're not going to break it. You know, it's pieces of metal. You're not going to really break it all that easily, as long as you're not doing something totally crazy. But
sure. Well, it sounds like you're really helping people break down some barriers, which I love, because you're kind of showing people that this is something that anyone can do. And so your classes you'll be teaching, it sounds like that's awesome for someone who might be intimidated by the airbrush, or maybe just wants to learn some very basics to start to get up to speed and get more confident with the tool. Would that be correct?
Yeah, that's exactly the point. Like, I see the airbrush as very much just a tool that's great for certain applications, and particularly base coating and putting down some early shading. And it's like, you can do these, you can get the same effect using a brush, but it's going to take you a lot longer. So why would you use, it's like, one of my comparisons was, why would you put up drywall using a screwdriver or a power drill? You have the opportunity to use a power drill. You know, maybe it's a little intimidating because it's a machine, but as soon as you learn how to use it, it's not that complicated and it's pretty easy, and it's so much faster.
Absolutely. So that's just really good perspective for me on the airbrush,
because we haven't tried one specifically for us.
Right.
We've done, you know, the standard painting situation with like just brushes and dry brushes and those kinds of things. So you know, we've had a lot of friends say we need to get into airbrushing, and it feels like, we really need to do this.
And this would be a great class for people like us who always talk about the airbrush but never pull the trigger, so to speak. So Evan, what is your favorite part of the Nova Open, and what are you looking forward to the most in 2020?
Especially since you've been involved so many years.
Yeah, my favorite part of the Nova Open is just, you know, coming back and hanging out with all these friends that I've made over 7 years. You know, I get to see a lot of them at different events throughout the year, but I don't get to a whole lot of them. And Nova is kind of, you know, my home base event. So it's the one where I know the most people, and I consider Mike Brand a friend. You know, a lot of the people running various events, I know them, and just getting to see them again, say hi, you know, the same familiar faces, and hang out and spend some time over a fun nerd-filled weekend.
Absolutely.
That's what we enjoy too.
Yeah, that's our favorite part. I think if we picked out keywords from every interview, we hear things like family and home and reunion and, you know, getting to spend time with And it's always cool to hear that as we talk to more and more people, because that theme is just ever present in the DNA of the Nova Open.
Absolutely.
So Evan, what is the best way for people to find you if you want to be found out there on the internet?
I still have a Facebook page for the blog / painting studio that's not very active anymore, but you can find me through there. Also just on Facebook, Evan Slagle.
Okay.
I actually have two profiles, and one is my nerd profile that's totally open and easy to find. So
awesome.
This should be the one you can find and reach out to me there. And you can also, if you wanted to email me and have a threaded discussion about anything, I'm happy to. It's ftgtpainting@gmail.com. So pretty easy. I think there's a website for FTGT Painting as a studio, like I said, but that was like 2-3 years ago, and I haven't really been able to keep up with it since 2 kids and full-time jobs.
I can only imagine. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it, and we cannot wait to see you at the Nova Open.